And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed. To you it shall be for food. Genesis 1:29. Man did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full. Psalm 78:25. Everyday Manna with Lisa.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Everyday Manna. We are going to be making what has become my new favorite food. We're going to make lettuce wraps, which has got a chicken filling, a chicken and mushroom, and it's just simply delicious. We're going to make the chicken wraps, the chicken lettuce wraps, then we're going to make some sauteed zucchini and yellow squash in a red pepper sauce. Then we're going to make warm bananas wrapped in an egg roll wrapper and fried, and then we're going to serve that alongside some vanilla ice cream with coconut and caramel sauce. Oh, it's going to be so good. I'm so excited about today's meal. The first thing we're going to do is make our sauce that we're going to cook in with our chicken. So we want to add about a teaspoon or so of just plain sugar. We want to add about 2.5 tablespoons of cornstarch, just regular old cornstarch that you buy in the grocery stores. We're going to add about 2 tablespoons of water. Let me just kind of eyeball this. Add just a couple of spoons of water. I'm going to add a product that we've used before, hoisin sauce, which is kind of like a Chinese barbecue sauce. It's a deep, rich, thick, wonderfully flavored sauce. We need about, this is not exact science here, a couple of tablespoons or so of the hoisin sauce, which is delicious. Then we're going to add something that we haven't used before on this show, but you can buy it in any grocery store out there in the section where they sell the Asian things, you know, where you go to buy your water chestnuts and your soy sauces and things like that. We're going to be using a product called oyster sauce. And oyster sauce is just very commonly used in Asian cooking. And we want, again, about, let me get a different spoon, I don't want to mix my flavors, about 2 tablespoons. It's just smells divine, and it doesn't smell like oysters. I know that's what you're thinking at home. We want about 2.5 tablespoons or so of the oyster sauce. It's a deep fermented soybean type product, and it is scrumptious. 1 can of that, or 1 jar of that, will last you a long time. You can just put it in your refrigerator, and it'll stay good forever. So we want to add that. We want to add a couple of tablespoons of the seasoned rice wine vinegar that we have used before on this program. A couple of tablespoons of that. If you have the unseasoned kind, that's fine too. You don't have to go out and buy a different bottle. We want to add some soy sauce, a couple of teaspoons, or tablespoons, excuse me, of just soy sauce. Now I use low sodium soy sauce because I just watch my salt intake. Want to kind of stir that together a little bit, and we're going to add another ingredient. Let's kind of get that going, which is delicious, and that is the dark roasted sesame oil. Do not make the mistake and go to the section where you get the canola oil, vegetable oil, peanut oils, the cooking oils. They sell a product there called sesame oil. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the dark roasted pure sesame oil that you get in the Asian section of your grocery store. Oh, this is delicious over just steamed rice. Just pour a little bit of this oil. I use this stuff all the time. It's very potent. You only need about a teaspoon of the dark sesame oil, but it is delicious, and it smells so good. And I use this in a lot of different recipes. Stir that together. And this is going to be a sauce that we're going to add to the chicken after we cook it. We want to kind of stir up that cornstarch in there and just let that dissolve. Now the cornstarch, of course, will kind of do 2 things. It will coat the chicken a little bit, and it will also help to thicken up the sauce, the glaze that we're going to be putting in with the chicken. And you need to just kind of make sure that you get that cornstarch dissolved. That's the wonderful thing about cornstarch, and that's why we use cornstarch instead of flour, because flour tends to lump up. You know what I'm talking about? Where cornstarch will not. When you get it dissolved in your liquid products, it's good to go, and it will not kind of lump up on you like some flour will do. So that looks good. Smells divine. That sesame oil is what gives it that wonderful flavor, that dark, rich Asian flavor. This is a recipe that is kind of inspired by a very famous restaurant that has got just the most delicious food. And I ate there and I thought, okay, I have to do this at home. I absolutely have to do this at home, and because I don't live anywhere near that restaurant. To my bowl, I'm going to add a couple more tablespoons of the rice vinegar and a couple more tablespoons of soy sauce. Because I'm going to soak my chicken in here for just a minute. A couple tablespoons of water, or a couple teaspoons rather. I'm going to add a little bit more of the sesame oil just because I like it. I just think it just adds such a flavor to the food that is unbeatable. And then I'm going to add, I like hot. If you don't like it as spicy as I do, don't add as much, but to add a little bit of heat, you know, you could use different forms. You could use sriracha sauce, you could use chili oil, you could use a lot of different things. I happen to always have in my pantry crushed red pepper flakes, so that's what I'm using today. And I'm adding a whole tablespoon of them because I like my food hot. If you don't like it as spicy as I do, just decrease the amount of the red pepper flakes. You really, you know, you could leave them out if you really wanted to. And then just kind of stir that together. Set that aside for just a minute. Now, I'm going to add, now traditionally, you know, all the research that I've done has pointed to dried shiitake mushrooms. I have a hard time finding those except in an Asian store. So what I bought today were the baby bellas, which are baby portobello mushrooms. We're going to use about half a package. This is a 10-ounce package, so I'm going to use about half of that, about 5 ounces or so of the baby bella mushrooms. Now, baby portobellos, of course, portobellos are the big mushrooms that a lot of people substitute for meat. I'm going to chop these up very, very fine because I want them chopped fine. A lot of people, myself included, now I'll tell you a little secret here on myself. I'm not a mushroom fan. I don't particularly care, it's not the taste, it's the texture. But in this recipe, even your non-mushroom eaters like me will absolutely go crazy over this dish because it just has got such wonderful flavors and textures. And we're going to chop these mushrooms so fine. By the time I'm done, let me get a little bit bigger knife. And the shorter knife here is not working too well. I got a big one too here, so let's use him. By the time you chop these up as fine as I'm going to chop them, you'll never even know. You know, your mushroom eaters, your non-mushroom eaters will not even know that they're in there. But the flavor of the mushrooms just adds a depth and earthiness, a meatiness that you miss if you don't have it in there. So we're going to add about, like I said, about 5 ounces or so. I'm using the baby portobellos. If you can find the shiitakes, absolutely use shiitakes. If you get the dried shiitakes, reconstitute them in some boiling water for about 30 minutes. But I'm just going to use the baby portobellos. You could probably use any mushroom that you like. Maybe you like the little button mushrooms. You could use those too. But shiitakes, from mushroom lovers, I have learned, have got a real deep, rich, earthy flavor. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm just going to keep chopping up these mushrooms, and when I come back, we're going to start on the chicken, and then we're going to cook this wonderful chicken lettuce wrap. I'll be right back with you in just a minute. Hey, and welcome back. Now, over the break, I just added the mushrooms to our second sauce that we made, and I just chopped up a little bit of chicken, and we're just going to finish this chicken breast. This is 4 boneless, skinless chicken breasts that I bought at the grocery store. We just want to chop it fine. I sliced it, and I'm going to turn it the other direction and just kind of cube it up a little bit, just to kind of get it in smaller pieces. You see here how we're cutting it. We just want it to be small enough to put in our lettuce when we're ready to eat. It will be absolutely delicious. I can't wait. So let's add that